Rachel Reeves.
Mr Deputy Speaker, I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to make my maiden speech today. And it is a pleasure to follow the Honourable Member for Rugby and other new members of this House who have done their constituencies very proud today. It is a huge privilege to have been elected as a Member of Parliament for Leeds West and to succeed John Battle, who represented us here for 23 years. John's work for Leeds West touched the lives of so many people, fighting and getting compensation for the victims of asbestos poisoning in Armley, supporting the Kirkstall Festival in the grounds of our beautiful 12th century abbey, and working with the West Leeds Debt Forum and the Bramley Credit Union to drive loan sharks out of our community. It is these and John's many achievements, of which I have mentioned only a handful, that are his legacy. At a constituency surgery recently, a lady took my hand and said that as long as I was half as good as John Battle, she would be happy. I later received a letter from a constituent who only asked that I be a quarter as good. I hope to exceed both of their expectations, but I know that in John Battle I have both a fantastic role model and a very tough act to follow. I will fight tirelessly for my constituents, to be the champion for local people that John Battle was before me. Most of all, I will fight for jobs, growth and prosperity, the subject of our debate today. Leeds has a proud economic heritage. Leeds West was built on engineering and on textiles. From my home in Hawksworth Wood, you used to be able to hear the hum of the Kirkstall Forge engineering plant at work. The forge, originally set up by the monks of Kirkstall Abbey, continued in operation until 2002. And the Industrial Revolution transformed Leeds as well. The Leeds-Liverpool Canal brought wool to our city that was spun at the mills that still stand tall in Kirkstall, Armley, Bramley and in Rodley. Of course, Leeds was the birthplace of Montague Burton and of Marks and Spencer's too, a proud industrial and retail heritage. The economy was transformed once again under the last Labour government. The city centre is now packed full with new businesses, shops, museums and galleries. But more than all of this, under Labour, every single person, and most of all every young person, has been given opportunities to recognise and fulfil their potential. It was my own experience of education under the last Conservative governments of the 1980s and 1990s that motivated me to get involved in politics. When I was at school, there were never enough textbooks to go around. There was no money for new school buildings, so our sixth form was a prefab hut in the playground, and our library was turned into a classroom. It is therefore with immense pride, Mr Deputy Speaker, that I tell you my old secondary school is now a specialist college with 2 new modern buildings. And this investment has been seen in schools up and down the country, in all of our constituencies. In Leeds West, every single primary school has been rebuilt or refurbished since 1997, and in September last year, the new Leeds West Academy and Swallow Hill Community College opened their doors. Proud achievements, transforming lives and transforming communities. John Battle, in his maiden speech in 1987, spoke of his visit to the Bramley Job Centre. Back then, there were just 6 jobs on offer in the window, with wages ranging from £2 to £2.28 an hour. No parents can bring up a family on £2 an hour, not in 1987 and not on its equivalent today. And no one should be made to work all hours of the day and night, yet remain in poverty. It was that belief, that sense of justice and of fairness, that brought onto the statute book the national minimum wage, one of Labour's proudest achievements. And through the recession, Labour has not abandoned its commitment to social justice. The Future Jobs Fund helped over 8,000 young people in Yorkshire get back to work during these challenging economic times. Under Labour, a generation of young people were not condemned to the scrap heap, as happened in the recessions of the 1980s and 1990s. But the economic recovery is fragile and it cannot be taken for granted. The passion, the enterprise and determination that built the Leeds economy of the past are just the things we need to build the economy of the future. And for that to happen, the people of Leeds will look to the government to be on their side. Building a future for Leeds based on high skills, new technologies and new industries. A future with better transport links, including high-speed rail, and a future for a banking sector that supports industry and small businesses, not just out to make a quick profit. The new government are right to make the budget deficit a priority, but this must not be at the expense of the recovery that Labour has secured. I started my own career as an economist at the Bank of England, focusing on Japan at a time that their economy had been in and out of recession for a decade. Debt today in Japan is 190% of GDP, 2.5 times the level of the UK. And their debt is so high precisely because their government did not take the swift action to ensure that their economy emerged from recession with strong growth. I urge this government to learn those lessons from history, because the very worst thing for Leeds West and for Britain would be another recession caused by hasty and unfair spending cuts. Yeah. And I fear that the government are making these mistakes and putting the recovery at risk. The Chancellor of the Exchequer is reducing industrial support for businesses and university, watering down the regional development agencies and abolishing the support that Labour introduced to get young people back to work. If the government really are serious about ensuring the recovery, they must put in place the policies for jobs and for growth. We know that the causes of this crisis are global, but the pathways out must be local and regional. So I will fight for Leeds West with determination, and I will do so in a responsible way. It would not be responsible and not be sensible to oppose every spending cut or tax increase. I will acknowledge and encourage when this government gets it right. But where the government gets it wrong, and where you put the economic future of my constituents and of the country at risk, I will hold this government to account. John Battle showed us that politics can make a difference, that the right values and the right policies can transform people's lives. We need the ambition that drove John for justice, equality and fairness today more than ever. It is an honour, a real honour, to serve as a Member of Parliament for Leeds West. And doing my duty to my constituents, I will act with the hopes, dreams and aspirations of Leeds West as my guide. Thank you.
Gavin Williams.